Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 ASMR. It's been a little while since I've uploaded a book video, and I have been missing it. I've just been really busy and I haven't really had time to sit down and plan out my videos and my schedules and to sit down in front of a camera and actually film. Now I'm back in the groove of things, been doing some reading, and today we're going to talk about what I read in February. So I'm going to try to start doing these at the first Sunday of every month, just to wrap up the previous month's reading. So this is going up on the 1st of March, Sunday, the first Sunday of March, which will be wrapping up February's reading. I didn't do one for January because I wasn't uploading at the time, and I read 2 books, so it wasn't a lot. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into the books. So this month I read a total of 4 books. None of them were bad. I didn't rate any of them low, and one of them was a new release. I'm trying to reread more new releases this year. I have a tendency to go back and read books from like the 60s and 70s and not pick up new books. So the first book I have to talk about is Perfect by Sarah Shepard. This is the 3rd book in the Pretty Little Liars series, and it's part of the first arc. So the Pretty Little Liars series is broken up into 3 arcs. You have the first 4 books, then the next 4, and then the last 8. So I had originally bought the box set of the first 4 back in November, just to see if I would like it. Maybe I wouldn't. I knew a lot of people who did like it. It's been suggested to me since high school. I never watched the show, but I have read tweets and read forums that say the show is completely derailed from the books. So I wasn't expecting much from this series, but surprisingly, I really liked it. So like I said, this is the 3rd book. I can't really talk much about it. It'll spoil the rest of them, but we pretty much know what Pretty Little Liars is about, right? A girl goes missing, then another person comes in anonymously sending texts and threatening messages to the rest of the girls, and it's just a whodunit, who's a killer, who's a stalker, and it's just a fun little mystery. I actually like this one more than the first 2. This one has darker themes. I feel like as the books further on, like as they go on, they're just going to get further and further into the darkness. I think when the first book starts, the girls are 15 or 16, and I think now that they're getting older, the author's trying to bring in themes that you usually wouldn't see with young age children. But I mean, a person dies at like 14, that's the whole plot, it's in the jacket, so. But regardless, the books aren't like an immature, childish story that I thought they were going to be. They actually have some pretty good messages. It's deep, deeper than I thought it was going to be. My favorite character has to be Hannah. She's just spot on. I love her. You know, she has some of the struggles I've struggled through with life, so it's good to have a character you can relate to. So I'm not going to continue to talk about it because I'll end up spoiling something, but I didn't end up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read, I have a full review on the channel, and that book is Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell. So since I already have a full review on this, I'm not going to talk about it too much. This is a retelling of the classic Peter Pan film. So Twisted Tales is an anthology series of books written mostly by Liz Braswell. I believe they're bringing in new authors, but it just retells classic Disney tales. I think this is the 8th one, 8th or 9th. And like I said, it follows Peter Pan. It asks the question, what if Wendy had first traveled to Neverland with Captain Hook instead of Peter? I already said in my review I love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was probably one of the best books I've read this year. I know it's only February, but I feel like it's gonna like stick up there with the best books, just because it's great, and I really want to read more of Liz Braswell's work. So then I read a book that's quite old. So if you don't know, I'm getting more into Star Wars. I've watched the first 6 films. I'm working on the Clone Wars series, and then I'll watch Rebels, and then I'll watch the new films. So I'm kind of a Star Wars junkie now. It's happening slowly. I'm starting a collection of things. It's really bad. It's like Harry Potter 2.0. So I wanted to read the books of Star Wars, just to expand my knowledge of the universe. I didn't want to start with the Disney canon books just because they aren't the books Lucas and his team had originally thought as the canon for Star Wars. So I dove back to the very first book released in the original expanded universe. It came after the movie adaptation of A New Hope, but it was the first one that took place after a film. I'm talking about Splinter of the Mind's Eye by Alan Dean Foster. I only gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, just because it was a little different than what I was expecting. So first of all, you can see the original cover. It has Vader, Luke, and Leia. So what you're expecting is a Luke versus Darth Vader, or something with the Force, something with the dark side. Maybe Palpatine will come in. Yeah, but it's like not as exciting as you think. I don't want to spoil it, but it's just Vader's not in there as much as it portrays, as much as the synopsis says. He's really not a main character. So this book sees Luke and Leia crash landing on the planet of Mimban, where the Imperials have set up camp in a coal town. While there, Luke and Leia run into a woman who tells them about the Kyber crystal, which is the crystal responsible for giving the power to, well, partially responsible for giving the power to lightsabers. So the trio set out to find the crystal deep in the hidden temples of Mimban. I honestly don't know how to say planet names. I'm just like guessing how I read them. So it was really odd to read this book because this was released before The Empire Strikes Back came out. So we didn't know Luke and Leia were siblings at the time when this was released. So there's a little bit of romance blossoming, and it's just gross when you think about it. I understand that in the 70s, when I think it was released in 78. Yeah, so this was released in 78, and I understand that we didn't know they were siblings yet. And it was kind of a new thing to have a romance inside of this huge space epic. But when you know, and you read it in the future, it's just weird. Don't want to read about Luke watching Leia's body. Regardless, though, it was a really cute book. I think it's a graphic novel adaptation, too. I'm going to try to get my hands on that to read it. I'll see if I can find it online. But my goal is to read through all of the Expanded Universe books, which I think are called Legends now, and they're not classified as canon by Disney. The next book after this is the Han Solo Adventures, which is 3 short stories, and then there's the Lando Calrissian Adventures, which is 3 short stories. And then we jump into the Heir of the Empire, which is the Thrawn trilogy. Like I said, 3 out of 5 stars. It was a cute little book. So in the last book I read this month, we're jumping back to Pretty Little Liars. I finished up the last of the arc. So this is Unbelievable, book 4 in the Pretty Little Liars series. This wraps up the box set that I have, and it wraps up the first arc in the first Stalker. So in this book it's revealed to us who A is, who the killer is, all these great things that we've been looking for and that we've been, climbing towards, and it just all erupts into the end of this book. This book is probably my favorite so far because we get a better look at the characters, at the girls, and at the characters that aren't even the main girls. We get to see how people are reacting in the community to this tragedy of a girl being murdered in their backyard and the community having to come together because there's a stalker on the loose. Of course, Hannah plays a huge role in this book. I think that's Emily on the cover, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like her. But really, this is Hannah's big break. No pun intended. So I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It is my favorite, but these books aren't like perfect. There are a lot of things that could be changed, a lot of things that could be fixed. There are a few plot holes, but it's still a great series. I'm loving it. I'm gonna take a break for a little while, read some other books, and then jump back into the second arc, because I have that arc on my Kindle. So that was all the books I read this month. It was only 4, and I felt like I wasn't reading enough because I'm a little bit behind on my reading goal of 52 books for the year, but I can catch up. All these books are great. I'm glad it wasn't a bad reading month. I haven't had a bad book yet this year, and I know one's coming soon. I can feel it, like when you're like, oh no, there's not a bad book I could read, and then it hits you.
I can't. Get out.
But thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what books you guys read this month, and until next time, remember you're beautiful, you're wonderful, and you're loved. Bye.